City Mayor Bill de Blasio, welcome to This Week, your first appearance here. Thank you for joining us. What a difficult week here in New York City. And back in August, you promised to ensure a fair and justified outcome in the Garner case. Do you believe the grand jury's decision met that standard?
George, I make it a point not to talk about any element of the judicial process per se. I talk about what we have to do to fix the relationship between police and community.
Others are willing to. Why not you?
Because as an executive in public service, I think it's important to respect the judicial process. But
so you respect the grand jury's decision?
Respect the process. But the point here is we have a whole series of things we have to do to change the dynamics in our city. This is true all over the country. We have to retrain police forces in how to work with communities differently. We have to work on things like body cameras that will provide a different level of transparency and accountability. This is something systemic, and we bluntly have to talk about the historic racial dynamics that underlie this.
So you respect the process but not the decision?
George, the point is we in public service who have an opportunity to change policies and approaches have to do that. This is not about one case, it's about something bigger that has to be addressed. And part of what I tried to say the night of the decision is that we have to have an honest conversation in this country about a history of racism. We have to have an honest conversation about the problem that has caused parents to feel their children may be in danger in their dynamics with police, when in fact police are there to protect them. We have to transcend that. And in this city, we've tried to begin that process in earnest with a series of policy changes that will really reach people.
But as you know, for a lot of people, the beginning of that conversation is making sure that justice is.
That's not us, ladies and gentlemen. That is just the video. It's basically buffering. The audio is buffering, so bear with us for a little bit. So more
done in individual cases. As you know, as you've said, a lot of people don't believe that's been done here. So the civil rights case is going to proceed at the federal level. You do support that?
Well, we are absolutely cooperating with the federal government.
And do you believe that there was a civil rights violation here?
I, first of all, am not a lawyer, but more importantly, I respect that the federal government will have its own investigation. NYPD will have an investigation as well, and will come to its own judgment. But the cases, the individual cases, of course they draw our feelings. They mean so much to people, and we relate through them personally. But what we have to do is change the fundamental relationship between police and community. Our police keep us safe, and yet there's been, as I said, not just decades of problems, a history of centuries of racism that undergird this reality. We can transcend that. We believe in New York City, retraining our entire police force is going to make a huge difference. This is something our Commissioner Bill Bratton is fundamentally a believer in, that if you train the police in a different approach to use of force, in a different approach to communication with community, a different approach to building relationships with the community, you won't see these tragedies.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, as we continue to listen to the audio.
And as you point out, police misconduct in New York City has actually gone down in recent years. You just said the statement, our police keep us safe, but you did draw a lot of response with your comments about your son, Dante, the other day, when you asked, was he safe each night, and not only from crime, but also from the police? It drew a very sharp reaction from the head of the police union. Take a look.
What we need is a mayor to stand up with and for us as well. What police officers felt yesterday after that press conference is that they were thrown under the bus.
Throw the police under the bus?
No, of course not. I have immense respect for the men and women who protect us. In fact, what we're trying to do is make everyone safer in this equation. We're trying to protect all of our communities and protect the people who do this important work. To do that, we have to draw on police.
We are back with you.
Yeah. So what did you want to say about that? So you're proud of de Blasio.
And community together. And you can't achieve that if you're not having a real conversation about what's happening. Of course people respond when they see a tragedy like this. They see it through their own eyes, through their own prism of their family. And we can't deny that and act like that isn't a reality. We're seeing it.
You really worry that your son Is it risk from your own police department?
Look, I want to say it the right way because I think there's so much misunderstanding here. What parents have done for decades who have children of color, especially young men of color, is train them to be very careful when they have a connection with a police officer, when they have an encounter with a police officer. It's different.
Okay, I think we're gonna stop this audio. This audio is having some problems, so we're gonna stop that audio. So we are back with you.
Yes, we're back. So meanwhile, while we're sitting here thinking about racial issues, yes, I'm sorry, I keep moving away from the mic. I'm not,
Yeah. People keep complaining that you're
I'm
not talking into the
sorry,
mic.
But I mean, I don't like. You see people with their mouth all on microphones. I think that's disgusting. The microphone should be able to pick up me from like
not if you
12 inches away.
Not
from
if your head is under the table.
my head.
Can't pick you up
Ignore
there.
that, please. No, okay. But then I hate seeing people with their mouth all over microphones. It's just
Well, you don't have to put it over the
gross
microphone.
and disgusting. I mean, I don't know.
So that was just Bill de Blasio just keeping it real.
Keeping it real.
As they say, sometimes you need people that don't look like us that keeps it real. The more.
Yes, I know, but you feel that. But I think that that's why you love your boy Tim Wise.
That's
so
my
you
boy.
feel like you need white people to justify the way you feel when you already feel that. You don't need them to.
Because you can hell or high water. You can say it over and over and over. But it's just.
Well, then they'll just think if somebody's really got a racial issue, then they'll still see it. I mean, listen, you have
What if they
all
have a
these.
racial issue? They'll see it. No,
If they
won't.
have a racial issue, they'll think that De Blasio's a jerk. That post
No.
that you.
I don't think so.
Wait. That post you put on my Facebook a second ago about these teachers and somebody teaching them empathy. I saw that post in the summer and I got on it and I started, going off on people because some of my colleagues were saying, we support the police, and other people, in that borough were saying, yes, the police, we need them, and our school safety officers work for the police. And I'm like, listen, go in front of your students and say you support what just happened. Yeah, and then they started going off on the Al Sharpton world, and this is not about Al Sharpton. This is about police brutality. Well, it's him and that jerk De Blasio. I mean, jerk is not the word that they used. So if somebody's already got that, there's, they may not veer off. But, I mean, and these people are entrenched in this. And it's amazing that you got other people on the right, what's his name? Sean Hannity. And
God,
all of these people even came out and said there's something. George Bush came out and said something was wrong.
Yeah, George
why
Bush.
is it these people steadfast in that community think, we better not talk about this. There's nothing wrong with this. This is our DA that put him there. And what kills me is that you have 5 guys. So here is what I figured out. So if you have 5 cops, and then they're all granted immunity for testifying against one cop, you've already let them go for what they did.
Well, that's just from the local situation. That's not from the federal prosecutor.
I know, but in that case, I mean, let us see if it comes down to some kind of federal civil rights violation, based on excessive force. That is what they have to use because that was what was used. Why was that not brought up amongst this grand jury?
Well,
it is. I think that there's just, I don't know, it seems like a concerted effort to get rid of men of color in some ways. I mean, I don't want to just put it on you because I don't want you to think, they're out to kill me. But if you look, I'm looking at this sentencing project before you get to the next point, and lifetime likelihood of imprisonment. Of all men, 1 out of 9 men has a likelihood of going to prison for life. 1 out of 17 white men has that chance. But 1 out of 3 black men has the chance.
So 33 and a third percent of all black. 1 out of 3.
1 out of
33
3.
and a third percent of them.
1 out of 6 Latino men.
Okay.
Of all women, 1 out of 56 women. Of white women, 1 out of 111. of black women, 1 out of 118. No, I'm sorry, 1 out of 18. Get it right. And of Latina women, 1 out of 45. So here they are, ready to lock us up. More than 60% of the people in prison are now racial and ethnic minorities. For black males in their 30s, 1 in every 10 is in prison or jail on any given day. These trends have been intensified by the disproportionate impact of the war on drugs, in which 2/3 of all persons in prison for drug offenses are people of color. I'm looking at the Sentencing Project, research and advocacy for reform. So, 1 out of 3.
So let's see if we could get to listen to Jon Stewart. This is from Salon.com, and Jon Stewart, he talked about Paul Rand and Fox News response to the Eric Garner situation. Let's see if we can get that one up. But keep going. So we have 1 in 3 black males.
Yes, who have a likelihood of spending a lifetime in jail.
Now that you said that, remember the one with the guy that had this black business.
Welcome to the Daily Show. My name is Jon Stewart. My guest tonight, one Angelina Jolie, director of the new film, It's Great, Unbroken. But first, I want to apologize for yesterday. I began the show somewhat overwrought because no one involved in the death of Eric Garner was indicted, and I want to apologize because I was wrong.
The person who did the videography of this,
yes,
that person was indicted by a grand jury in Staten Island over gun charges.
Get it? Someone was indicted. They got the shooter of the video. Let that be a lesson to you kids out there. Photographing crime does not pay. But what's so hard to understand about this is that for months, we've been going back and forth about what really happened with Darren Wilson and Michael Brown in Ferguson, Missouri. Did Brown have his hands up? Did he not have his hands up? Was Wilson afraid for his life when he killed Brown? Reasonable people, as well as plenty of ones, could... Okay, their pictures didn't come up. Could reach different conclusions. But in this case, there was no ambiguity. Even with clarity, though, people continued to blame this death on anything but the injustices of a flawed system.
What a lot of people don't understand is that man was a big man.
He's a huge individual.
Garner outweighed the officer by probably 150 pounds.
He is Gigantor! He is afloat in a parade! They had to bring him down. He was the abominable bro man! Okay, yeah, he outweighed one cop by 150 pounds. What about the other 5 cops? Or maybe that's just how much racial progress America has made. You know, it used to be black people were only 3/5 of a white person. Now they're like 6. Unless there's some other reason his size is relevant.
If he had not had asthma and a heart condition and was so obese, almost definitely he would not have died from this. The police had no reason to know that he was in serious condition.
Please. Asthma, heart disease, obesity, yeah, those are serious conditions, but come on. The medical examiner's report said Garner died from compression of the neck and compression of the chest. That sounds more like death by choking than death by chocolate. You know what I'm talking about. The NYPD patrol guide defines a chokehold as any pressure to the throat or windpipe which may prevent breathing or reduce intake of air. Well, listen to one expert explain why this case isn't that.
I would not use the term chokehold. As a martial artist student, I wouldn't use that term.
Go on, Sensei.
If you go for the trach or what's called an air choke or the windpipe, you can literally kill somebody. That's illegal by every police department standard. So the definitions, it may sound technical, but it really isn't in this case, is it?
No, it is, Mr. Miyagi. Respectfully. That is literally what happened. Facts on, facts off. All right, so we've established that police used appropriate force against a dangerously large but incredibly fragile
out of shape monster weakling. Again.